Let's go to the phone. Smackoff number 25 is 36 days from today. This is a guy who has never won it. He's got the game to win it, but you never know whether or not he's going to show up. As an example, he's in right now, but I don't know if that means it's an RSVP or he's found a few minutes and he wants to jump in right now. Let's go to San Antonio. Gino. Gino, what's up?
What's going on, Romy? How's life treating you,
How you doing, bud? Good. How about you? What's up?
Man, I'm doing real good. But, between the NBA lottery and the impending Smackoff, I felt the need to drop you a phone call. I'm going to keep my focus on the greater New York area for today. Hey, Knicks fan, stop acting like you got robbed during the lottery, you idiots. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Stephen A. Smith, and you, Spike Lee, and all you Knicks fans. You people realize you had a 14% chance of winning the lottery, right? 14%. You do know that means those are bad odds, correct? I mean, by comparison, Parody Larry has roughly a 14% chance of not getting buzzed when he calls. A bag of donuts has about a 14% chance of making it through the night at Beek's house. 14% means it is highly likely that things do not go your way, Knicks fans. But in all honesty, Zion to the Pelicans. Zion to the Pelicans. Really, NBA. Really, Silver. You can say whatever you want about Stern, but I promise you this. Giving the biggest name to hit the NBA since LeBron a minimum 3-year sentence to New Orleans, that would have never happened on Stern's watch. And to all the flat earther, tinfoil hat-wearing people who are trying to chime in that the fix was in and Silver gave the Pels the number one pick to save the franchise, just remember, losing New Orleans representation, that's not something that any league is really losing sleep over. And as for the Smackoff and quasi-qualified callers like Rick in Buffalo, my dude, what exactly is going on when you are making phone calls to this show? I mean, are you constantly passing a kidney stone during phone calls? Are you tearing your groin during your phone calls? Why are you screaming all the time, my man? Is it because you have no actual takes, so you need this affected voice to try to stay relevant? Well, it's not working. It's not working, Rick. You're not fresh. You're not even the latest person to decide that screaming your phone calls is how you're going to be relevant on the show. Screaming Mike in Vegas perfected it a long time ago. Bobby in Brooklyn also could not modulate his tone very effectively. Jim in Fall River also tore the volume knob off at 11. And you know what, Rick? You're a lot like Jim. The only difference is that, one, he had takes and was funny, and two, whereas one time he had a donkey on a call, you are the donkey on all of your phone calls, my man. So please, Rick, do not try to sell me that is your actual voice. I refuse to believe that. Please don't tell me at the dinner table that when you ask your mom to pass the salt, it sounds like, Mom, please pass the salt and pepper. Mom! No, bro. You are not fresh. You are not relevant. And frankly, my advice is keep the fake affected voice because it's probably all you've got. Just my 2 cents. June 21, Romy. See you then.
There's the RSVP I was waiting on. All right, Gino. Looking forward to it. Gino in San Antonio. I never know year to year what he's going to do. And as he was going through that phone call, I did not know what he was going to do. And then he tagged it with, see you on June 21st. Write it down, rack that call, Alvy, and save it. I love it. It just got better. Gino in San Antonio. I do disagree with his take on Rick. Rick is relevant. Rick does matter. Rick does have actual takes. Rick is going to be a factor on that day. The show is better with him. Regardless of whether or not he screams, and that's his normal voice, and that's how he asks his mother to pass the salt. He's still Batman, but only for a show and a half more. At the Real Left Hook tweets, Gino has a 14% chance of making the air on June 21st. Listen, I don't want to make it sound like the fix is in by saying something like I'm about to say, but I think I'm going to say it anyway. He's got a much better than 14% chance of making it to air on June 21st. Do you know why that is? 2 reasons. One, there is a 100% chance that I will decide who makes it to air on June 21st. And secondarily, I've already been on the record with this. those who I think are going to make that show better stand a better chance of getting on the air. That's the only fix that is in that day. If you have a chance of winning or making this show better, you're going to get on the air that day. There's your conspiracy theory. Gino has a chance to win. Therefore, Gino has a better than 14% chance of getting on the air. Why do I say that? Because he's called for years and years and years and has a body of work. Alvin, as an example, just do it. Find me a piece of audio from Gino, if you can, before I go to break, so I can explain to you exactly what I mean by he has a body of work. I don't want you to drop out of the sky, hear the call that he just made, which was fine, it was good, but not one of his best, and say, hey, Rome, why are you making any guarantees or promises to that guy based on what he said about Rick? I'm not. What I'm saying right now is not based on what he just said. What I'm saying right now is based on what he has said over the past, 20 years that he's been calling this show. He has a body of work.
Someday, when your former daughter-in-law drops off your grandkids from her monthly weekend visit, you'll be able to tell them about this. They'll come into the tenement building, their fat little faces all sooty and bruised, and they'll say, Grandpa, Mommy's parole officer told me the Lions never really won 4 games in the season. Is that true? And after you take a long pull off the oxygen tank, you'll be able to look them in the face and say, shut your hole and take your Ritalin. Only in Detroit can people buy school clothes for their kids, activate their cell phone, and buy dinner at the liquor store. I know you're hoping that somebody's going to rise up from the ashes of your once literate city to defend you, but I got bad news. Mitch Albom, he ain't walking through that door. Once he realized that the 5 people he was going to meet in heaven were all wearing Red Wings jerseys, he moved to L.A., and I can't blame him, because if things get any worse in your city, the president's probably going to send in Snake Plissken to rescue Calvin Johnson. Face it, the only large society of people with the same values as you are prisoners.
You're going to tell me that guy right there does not have more than a 14% chance of getting on the air on June 21st? You know he does. Especially if he comes in to give the city of Detroit the hands again. We'll find out. Smackoff 25, June 21st.